Hey everyone, this is Argenbright, founder and CEO at HelloWoofy.com, a smart marketing dashboard for underdogs. Now, as you know, we've been raising equity crowdfunding for the last 2 years or so in different campaigns. We've done Republic as a platform, we've done WeFunder as a platform, and now we have an amazing investor here, Glenn Argenbright, who actually previously invested $100,000 into our company several years ago and has just stepped up to the plate to invest another a few $1,000, $25,000 so far. He might be putting in more into our campaign, and most importantly, he is now our micro lead investor at WeFunder. But I want to take a quick moment and say thank you, Glenn, for all the years of support you've given to HelloWoofy. And more importantly, tell us a little bit about who you are. Why are you so awesome? And what is Quake Capital? Why did you invest again into HelloWoofy? And what is your outlook in small businesses? So I'll transfer it over to Glenn Argenbright. Or the other side of the screen.
Thanks, Arjun. First off, thanks for having me. Honored to be part of your journey. And like you said, we've been involved since very early, when you were originally coming up with the concept. And a little bit on my background real quick. I'm a longtime operator. Long before I was a venture capitalist, I was about 20 years on the operating side. Launched 14 different startups over that period of time, exited 9 and took 3 of them public. So really active on that side. I tend to come at the VC landscape as an operator. I think most of Quake actually comes at it that way as well. But Quake as a fund now has 225 early stage investments, work with about 500 different founders.
Wow.
We're now on our 6th fund. That includes both initial early stage funding and also of 3 different follow-on funds that make follow-on contributions, primarily into the investments that we initially lead. And as far as Woofy goes, why did we get involved with Woofy? Well, you had a lot to do with it. There's a number of things you look at when you look at an investment. We tend to focus primarily on the fundamentals of the business, the traction, things like that. But clearly, founders make a huge difference in the outcomes that you find. And you look for, I think sometimes people think these are just buzzwords, but like grit, determination, passion, drive, those are like words that people use. And I've talked about this with you before. They're not just words. They're really things that you find in those founders that win. And you espouse and exhibit all of those traits and in spades. And so when we met, I had an immediate affinity for you, as you know, and it took a while for the business, like a lot of startups. Startups have to pivot. Startups have to evolve. You have to find your customer, kind of the base and the sticking point. And almost every startup that you're going to invest in as an early stage investor pivots. Our goal is to try and invest at Quake after that pivot. And I think what you're seeing with Woofy right now, everybody, it's all speculation, but what I think you're seeing is a lot of evidence that you found product market fit.
Yeah.
And that's why we put in additional capital. I mean, and frankly, we'll put in more. To your point, we're in between funds right
Virtual
now.
hugs. There we go.
We're in between. We're raising a new follow-on fund. As soon as we bring some capital in there, we'll put in more capital. But I think what's there's a number of things that you want. And just speaking to other founders who are out there right now as well, like the really important metrics that you look for in a startup are churn. Like how many of the customers are coming in and then leaving, right? Your rates of churn are incredibly low. You look for what's the base of customers look like. Do they have one customer making up 80% of their revenue?
Yeah.
Because that's a huge risk, right?
Yeah.
You've seen that before.
Yeah, and I think we're very proud of is that in our deck we actually say, and this is one of the things that investors have to understand about us is that most of our contracts are yearly. We sell up front after 14 days, money back guarantee is over. The customer is happy to stay with us for the whole year and get a massive discount. I mean, our prices are redonkulous in terms of our affordability, but our business model is very different. Our HelloWoofy, as opposed to other companies that are, one of our competitors is publicly traded, no patents. We have patents actually fully issued. And the patents go after the data science. How can we get more data? We have to keep the prices low. Like Facebook and all these other companies like Google, they kept things free. They kept things very affordable. And guess what? 15, 20 years later, they know exactly how to predict the next thing you're going to buy, or maybe you don't even know you want to buy it. And so something that to your point, we're very proud of is the ability. And obviously, we have 2 patents that have been fully issued. One of which is all about the data. How do we recommend the best emojis, the best hashtags, the best images, all of that stuff. So if one of the things that is so super incredible, and I know I remember showing you this in the early days, is we really think it's a living, breathing organism. Language language as a means of communicating is a living organism. How do we recommend the best emojis and the best hashtags? Well, take a look at what people are using right now, and then predict, what's going to be the next best word or whatnot. So that's actually the approach that we're taking. So we got to keep the prices low. And if you take a look at our competition, like I said, unlike most SaaS companies, we do annual, and we're getting renewals now. But if you take a look at our competition as well, they don't really even care about the artificial intelligence. They don't have artificial intelligence departments or a chief data science officer or anyone in AI. And so beyond the fact that we keep the prices low, we have a data science division at HelloWoofy, and obviously we're focusing on social, blogging, audio marketing. So we'll talk about that. But I love that you're talking about that as well.
Well, and I think, my background's in data science. And so one of
Yeah.
the things that I love, aside from the fact the AI components you're just talking about, the fact that you have so many customers. I mean, it's
Yeah.
smaller accounts, but so many of them. Not only does
Yeah.
that make you have a very stable business,
Yeah.
but the data that you collect it's like having a really small sample size in a research set gives you really flawed data. Having a
Yeah.
large sample size gives you really solid data. So I think one of the things that's really unique about you guys, you mentioned Facebook. One of the things that gives Facebook tremendous advantage is that they have such a wide variance and so many data points.
Yeah.
They have such a huge customer base that their data is really foundationally strong. And I think
Yeah.
that's where you guys are as compared to some of those competitors that you put up there,
Yeah.
who even though have many customers, they're still relying on a few key accounts to get the bulk of their data.
Yeah.
And
And
really kind
and
of
that
breaks it.
it's kind of like so we know one of our companies that we want to mention specifically is publicly traded, and they're very proud of having 20,000 enterprise customers. Right, they're all paying $10,000 or so a year, or even more. But then we're looking at the ecosystem and saying, okay, in 2020, how many small businesses shut down? 400,000 according to CNBC.
Mhm.
And I was like, boy, if I could have, they knew that HelloWoofy existed. We could have helped them be seen more. We could have helped them build a community online. We could have helped them, diversify beyond just expecting people to just walk in the door and make a purchase. And unfortunately, our biggest competitors, some are multi-billion-dollar companies, some might be going IPO and public, becoming publicly traded themselves. They just don't care about the bottom 50% of the small businesses. Majority of our customers are women-based businesses. They're 1 to 2 people at at the core of it, maybe 3 people at an agency. Just getting started. We care about those people who are choosing between food on the table and running a coaching business, a podcasting business, a real estate business that they're just looking to make some money off of to keep the lights on. And I think we're very proud of is that most of our customers keep coming back in and investing. I mean, last year, if you take a look at our Republic campaign, our biggest competitors have raised a lot of money from a small group of people. We raised a little bit of money from a lot of people, and we're proud of that. Our customers keep coming back in. So last year we raised a little over $500,000 in our equity crowdfunding campaigns. We did 2, and obviously Tim Draper came in at that point. He invested 130 grand, and we won his TV show Meet the Drapers as well, which you can see more about on our own YouTube channel here. This was an interesting experience. I mean, being able to pitch a billionaire and get his insights and be grilled by his friends. This was definitely an interesting approach. But and then of course earlier this year we raised $203,000, and then in the last few weeks we raised just under $100,000, and they're all underdogs, and so we're very proud of that.
Well, the underdog thing is an interesting thing to talk about, Arjun, because I think,
Yeah.
yeah. So you were talking about it from how you can help these companies, and there's
Yeah.
absolute truth to that. But I think the other side of this is that's where the market's going.
Yeah.
So what we saw, I've been through several recessions as a founder, and what you see every time there's a significant economic crisis is you see a huge uptick in the number of startups and small businesses that launch after. And the reason it's pretty obvious why. As this pandemic came on, people started losing their jobs. They have an uncertainty in their jobs. And so what happens is people want to take back control of that certainty. And one of the
Yeah.
ways you do that is you launch your own business or a side hustle or whatever it might be.
So
So you're
you're
going to
saying that small businesses essentially go up after a time of like, well, I mean, I guess by the definition, we did have like a 2-month recession or something like that, but
Oh, we're
just
still, yeah, we're still seeing. I mean, what I'm really talking about is anytime you see I know it's a great job market right now,
yeah,
but anytime you see people with any kind of uncertainty surrounding either their job or their career,
yeah,
you see an uptick in small business launch and
yeah,
in startup launch, and we're definitely seeing it. We've seen a huge uptick, on the venture side in
mm,
terms of the number of small businesses, early
yeah,
stage businesses coming across our desk.
yeah,
So you're absolutely going to see a spike. What I mean by this is that you're targeting that market right now makes perfect sense because that's where you're going to see a huge amount of growth over the next
yeah.
2 years.
And I think we're right here because of that. Because
I
people
agree.
are trying to figure out, and of course, again, for the purpose of this interview, please do your own due diligence. Consult your financial advisor, consult your legal advisor for making any investment decisions. And of course, if you do want to invest as low as $100, you can click on the link, under the video where we're going to post it, or just go to wefunder.com/HelloWoofy, and definitely take a look at Glenn's background. He has a great background, so definitely do your own diligence. But what we're talking about is that, I feel like in the beginning, people were just figuring out what the heck just happened. What just happened to us? Like what happened to the economy? And now we're figuring out, okay, now what consumer habits have changed and how do we live with that? And now the opportunities are here. Let's just keep going and, figure out how the new world will look like for small
Yeah, and
businesses.
to be clear, we lost a lot of small business because of
Yeah.
the pandemic and closures, right? But
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that you're likely going to see, and what we're already seeing, is an awful lot of these businesses being started. And
Yeah.
to your point, the other interesting thing is that there's a very large increase in the number of those businesses being launched by underrepresented founders. So
Mm,
that would be,
interesting.
typically we're talking about women founders, Black and
Yeah.
Hispanic founders,
Yep. Yep.
founders that maybe are coming from diverse backgrounds, maybe not, the typical markets that you would see pursued. So you've seen a lot of different, I guess, differences in what we'd seen 5 years ago in
Yeah.
the kinds of businesses being launched.
And it's so interesting because we're looking at our demographics right now. Like I said, our demographics are skewed towards women-led businesses, and so we're very proud of being able to support them. I think one of the things that we're also realizing is just from a product standpoint that we need to make the platform a lot simpler than most of our competitors are. Our competition is super clunky. If you guys want to take a look at the deck, which is attached to the WeFunder campaign, you'll see that our competition, we have a lot of respect for them. I know some of the founders of those companies, but they're clunky. They are devoid of any data science. They make you figure out your own hashtags, your own emojis, your own words. And if you don't have time to do that because you're, going from a coffee, making coffee for a customer to doing your accounting to doing your social all at the same time, they're just not helping you. And so we've said, okay, we need to make the product look beautiful. We need to make the product look intelligent. And one of the things that we're very proud of is that we actually emphasize audio marketing. Which I think, obviously Clubhouse is a great example of audio marketing that has done really well, but, audio Clubhouse is an example, Twitter Spaces is an example. But one of the things that we realize is that smart speakers, I have 11 smart speakers. I don't know how many you have, Glenn, but I've got 11. I've got a 5-inch version of the Echo Show, a 7-inch, an 11-inch. I got a Fire TV here, which is an older one, and I have the original. This is about 5 years old, 5, 6 years old. I have the original Alexa that came out. But my point is, it only helped a small group of people. It helped only the biggest companies in the world. And when you take a look at a video like this, right? This is my New York City apartment. All of those companies on the bottom, again, we love them. We like Netflix, we love Hulu, we love YouTube, we love all of these amazing companies. But the reason why they're on my living room screen on a 200-inch projector with a Fire TV running on it, you know why? Because they're the ones who could afford to build an app. They knew how to build the infrastructure, and they had the capital. Which, by the way, if you want to build anything even similar to Netflix or Hulu, it's going to cost you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, just to come even a little bit close to their level of experience. And so we said, well, guess what? Joe the coffee shop isn't here. I love Joe's Coffee in New York. I go there all the time. But how do I get that company, that small business, that underdog, to teach me how to make cappuccinos at home? Teach me how the differences between one blend versus another so I can order online, or the ability to understand who are the businesses, who are the farmers he's supporting. And so we said, okay, I know Joe's not going to spend tens of thousands of dollars, so let's build a skill maker, a app maker for Amazon with the Amazon Alexa team. So we've been working with Kevin and a whole bunch of other people over at Amazon Alexa team, and we've actually built this. We built a skill, HelloWoofy skill in HelloWoofy.
Yeah, I
It's
love
like
it. I
dog
love that
fooding.
live. That's an
Yeah,
awesome visual there. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like dog fooding your own your own business. Obviously the theme of dogs and whatnot. Of course, my dog is our mascot right there, Snoopy. But yeah, so I mean, you could be Joe the coffee shop every single day in video format. You can say, this is how I make the cappuccinos. This is the difference between a latte and a cappuccino. Hey, Glenn, if you want to learn more about how to blend your own coffee, how to roast your own beans, well, we're doing a masterclass on Zoom. Click on that link on the left. Well, in this case, is on my thermostat, and you can literally take the customer to your website, joescoffeeshop.com. There we go, /masterclass. And now Glenn can tune in, his friends can tune in, the entire world from people from Turkey, India can tune in to learn how to make coffee. And all of a sudden, you are now competing with the Billy Mays of the world, the QVCs of the world, with your own little small set of customers, but you're broadcasting to them with thought leadership content. Now, the other cool thing is that you can also eventually have a phone number there. You can have an email there, so people can email you or call you with just scanning the screen. And this works so well on the small speakers. They're called the Echo Shows. And again, schedule, just to touch screens. You can tap on the briefings, tap on the links, go to a website and whatnot. And this is, making it super, super easy for you to be able to take this to the next level. So that's actually what we're really excited about. But of course, inside the platform, we do a couple of things. One is the audio marketing stuff. One is the blogging side. We realized that SEO is so important. People weren't finding, small businesses online because they expected to go down the block and find the underdog and buy the coffee or go to a restaurant. But guess what? Restaurants had to turn into grocery stores. Coffee shops shut down, or they were delivering to you, right? So how were you able to find them? So we use the same technology, and we built a journal product. We call it the journal product, to allow you to autocomplete entire blog articles and schedule them to your Medium account, your WordPress account, Shopify. And so that's really what I'm excited about, is how do we help small businesses do everything that they need to do from this perspective. So I just want to get your 2 cents on that perspective. Is like, what are your thoughts around combining audio with blogging, with social? I mean, have we missed anything? What else should we be doing to help small businesses?
Look, you've got a word right on that page. You've got the word, let's engage more, right?
Yeah.
Engage. And engagement is such a crazy important metric from our side, from the investor side into startups. But that's ultimately what every business is trying to do, is engage with the customer. Yeah. And what you're doing is you're providing these simplified tools to allow them to do that. And why do you, and again, I'll go back to something I said earlier, you're trying to reduce churn, you're trying to increase loyalty. It's so much more cost effective to keep a customer than to go find a new one.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're talking 3 to 5x benefit from keeping a customer versus going to find one. Yeah. And so, just in terms of lifetime value and all that, I think you've already got, I don't know what tools are coming there, to be honest. I wouldn't have guessed about the audio speaker. I wouldn't have guessed about the smart speaker, rather, before you guys came up with that idea. So I don't know what the heck you're going to hatch in 6 months, Arjun. I really don't. But I'd say right now you're creating tools that allow somebody without the budget to go after, they're not going to be the Ciscos or the IBMs or the Intels, but they're going to be able to compete and rise above that noise that otherwise is not really something that's available to most of these small business operators.
I'm gonna really quickly schedule a briefing from Mark Cuban. He put out a video on TikTok, actually, not just a couple of months ago, talking about, audio. He calls it ambient voice, and I'm really literally scheduling this to my speaker right now, and I'm going to play it. And the idea is that, and of course, I could schedule it to Facebook and Twitter if I wanted to as well. The point he's making is that because of the nature of business and how consumers have changed, the habits have changed and they're not going back. They want content on demand. They just like they wanted that subscription box on demand. They want content on demand. So I'm just going to play a quick video here. This is obviously not endorsing Mark Cuban or saying anything about his opinion or whatnot. So please, again, do your own due diligence. But this is an example of someone who has been in the broadcasting space before and has an opinion about audio marketing and Alexa specifically. So we'll just play a quick video here for a few seconds. Again, this same briefing if I ask Alexa to play it, she would play it right on my speaker here and on my 200-inch screen in the living room as well. So I'll just go ahead and play that.
I teach myself to do Amazon Alexa and Google Home skills. A lot of people have Amazon Alexa in particular, and they know how to use it generically, but they don't know how customizable it is. So I would, just like I did back in the days when I started Micro Solutions, and I went to all these different retail stores, handing out my business cards saying, if you ever have questions or need help with PCs and computers, I'm your guy. I would do the same thing now. So particularly now with the pandemic, where we're trying to go touch-free, the ability to use ambient voice to really help your business, nobody's really doing it very well.
And that's my point. How do we get every underdog to do that as well? These are my briefings I've scheduled in the last few days, but that's pretty important. That's like pretty powerful. Is now everyone can broadcast. You could broadcast and teach your next cohort or next line of entrepreneurs that you want to work with, how to pitch you before they actually pitch you, because you can start broadcasting to their living rooms with their opt-in as well.
Well, and you can connect. I mean, look at all the different ways you've got to connect. So you've got scheduling, you've got blogging, you've got audio. Like you're basically just creating a universe that allows people to stay in constant contact with their customers. They know their customers better. They're going to build better loyalty, lower churn, all those things I was talking about before.
Well, the other thing we're realizing is that people are, you mentioned this yourself, people are launching more businesses, but now more than ever, they're launching it to stay and work from home.
Oh,
they don't want to go back. They don't want to go back to the office. They don't want to deal with the overhead, right? I mean, one of the things that we realize is that augmented reality is going to be very important for this. And again, I honestly don't know any other company that is going to be doing this, at least for content marketing. And we said, how do we make Glenn the next agency owner that wants to compete with the biggest agencies in the world? How do we help him look cool and very data driven as well? So we actually built a prototype. This is about to launch very soon, which is the augmented reality version of our platform, where you could come in. Let's say you're my client, Glenn, right? I could come in and say, hey, Glenn, my team and I have been working around the clock. We're an entire remote team. We're a new agency from the United States. We're here to help you. This is what my team has put together in our content library. And, this is the Andrea Bocelli concert, which I went to last night. It was amazing, beautiful music. And I'm just going to send it off to Instagram right now. And would you like me to send off, this post here as well with Snoopy? And the answer is yes. We'll just clap on that and send it off to Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or whatnot. Oh, and Glenn, did you want to see how we've been doing in terms of scheduling actually? Well, let me just, display a timeline in my living room to show you exactly what posts have come out, what posts are about to come out. You don't like that? Just long press on it and move it around. Let's make that post come in a little bit sooner or maybe a little bit later, depending on what you as my client want. So now, and by the way, you can have two people in here. You can have two people in augmented reality manipulating the data, moving the posts around, dragging from the content library to the calendar. But again, because we have a library of posts, right? We encourage our businesses not to be in that vicious cycle of creating content again and again and again. You should be reusing, recycling, because guess what? Only 5% of your audience will ever see it, right? 95% never knew that you posted something super valuable. So this content library, which is divided into categories, can actually be seen in augmented reality now. So we're probably blowing some people's minds right now, but that's why we think we're doing a great job. And we hope that you will consider investing as low as $100 into our campaign. But yeah, Glenn, you were saying something.
Well, I just think it's fascinating what founders, how things have evolved. So when I was coming up, kind of my formative years, the early part of my career would have been like the mid 90s. I was in Silicon Valley, when the tech boom was really taking off there. And you didn't really have to rise above the noise. There was nobody online. There wasn't, we were creating the web.
Yeah.
But you had a lot of other challenges. You had to make everything from nothing. There was nothing there. Now, what you founders, you and many, many others have to deal with is to rise above so much noise. There are so many other people out there. And really, the tools that you're talking about here, Arjun, are how you go about doing that. I mean, whereas I was spending money on servers and raised floors and cooling systems and all this stuff, you guys now are really need to concentrate on how you can be found and again, interact with your customers.
I think that's exactly it. And again, we're so proud that so many people have supported us. We have thousands of underdogs, small businesses,
Crazy.
that are supporting us financially, beyond the fact that we're actually making money. We're able to raise capital from the same individuals. Just to give you an example of some numbers, between November 14 and November 14 and December 14th, this year, 2021, we did nearly 55K in gross revenue and almost 45 K in net income. So again, do your own diligence. These numbers are obviously real time and whatnot. So if you do consider investing, do your own research. But that's a lot of money that we've been able to produce, right? If you take a look at our price points, between our competition and what we charge, I mean, if we were charging anything close to them, do your own math. How much we could be making a month if we were charging anywhere close to them. But again, we want to take care of the bottom 50% of small businesses that are getting ignored and getting no love whatsoever. And so I think we have a social, a cause here. We have a mission to build the biggest company, helping the smallest, and we're very proud of being able to, count on people like you, Glenn, to be able to support us, because that's smart marketing for underdogs right there.
Well, it fits our thesis as a fund. We've got I think this, but we've got we've been very, very supportive of female founders.
Yeah.
I think we were number 2 in the world in 2020 for support of female founders. We were number 1 out of 3,400 funds studied for our investment in Black and Hispanic founders.
Wow.
Despite the fact that that's not our focus. Our focus is just on the best businesses. So we feel like there's huge opportunity supporting those folks. If you get right down to it, Arjun, you're talking about investing in founders who've had to go through
Yep.
a lot more.
Yeah.
They don't have, haven't necessarily had all the advantages, haven't had access to capital. You can just look at the stats and see. And so by supporting and investing those entrepreneurs, and I'm talking for myself, but also for you,
Yeah.
they're so much more likely, with the support being added to their systems, they're so much more likely to succeed.
Yeah.
Because they've been able to bootstrap and really persevere despite not having access to capital and certain other advantages.
I mean, we certainly have our own story. I think it's going to be a movie one day, but that's why I'm so proud, is that every single day in our Facebook group, Content Masters, which everyone can join for free. There's no strings attached. Every single day we have stories about what people are liking, what people are not liking, what people are needing help with. We have our own people are sharing about their dogs, their pets, their furry sidekicks, because guess what? This is the world we're living in. And of course I'm responding in video format and saying thank you for your love, thank you for your support, thank you for bringing in your furry friends in. But I encourage everyone to take a look at this, because we're getting feedback in real time. Our community is telling us what they like, what they don't like. This is genuinely built by underdogs for underdogs. This is a community that we're very proud of, and I hope that you will enjoy the conversations happening here around what we should be building next, what is working well for us. And if you do consider investing, as low as $100, definitely go to WeFunder.com /HelloWoofy and invest as low as $100. Some people have put in more, but before we conclude, Glenn, and call it an end here, is there any words of wisdom you want to share? Anything else you want to talk about from our sage, Glenn Argenbright?
No, I mean, I actually love what you just brought up there just a second ago, Arjun. I think one of the things that makes not only HelloWoofy, but just, and even your personality so strong, is that you are about community. And I think when you talk about whether it's small business founders or startup founders or whatever you want to talk about, an early stage company, there's so much value in talking to other people going through the same journey and going through facing the same challenges and probably have already dealt with some of them. So to be able to ride that wake that other people have already kind of gone through, oh, I encountered this, or you should talk to this person. That is so insanely valuable.
Yeah.
The fact that you're willing to do that with other founders, the fact that you're building a community in addition to these tools.
Yeah.
Like I know that a lot of your investors are also your customers.
Yep.
But so I'm sort of speaking to both here, but if your customers are listening to this and they're not taking advantage of that community aspect, I would strongly encourage them to do so. There's bound to be,
I literally I almost cried. This happens to me maybe every 2 weeks or so. We do group masterminds every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So Glenn, if you want to join in as well, you can be the fly on the wall. But we had almost 10 to 12 people. The group masterminds are getting big, and every single week we give an hour of our time and we answer questions like how to put a Facebook ad together, how to do copy, how to come up with a strategy to create content and repurpose and create evergreen content, or how do we speed up my website. All of these questions are basic, but guess what? Every time an underdog asks that question to an agency, they get slapped with a $1,000 retainer or a $5,000 retainer to even take the phone call. And so I almost cried earlier today because one of our customers, Edgar, who's literally, I've seen him every week come in and grow a Shopify store from nothing and look not great at all in the beginning to now doing 6 figures. And I just made the introduction to you, Glenn, as well. Seeing those stories is what keeps us going forward. And one of the things that I also wanted to say is, on our website we just started using Grasshopper. And so when people do call in, I'll just call in right now. You actually hear us, saying, "Hey, underdog, thanks so much for calling in. If our paws are stuck at the moment because not always can I take the call, but if you want to give us a call, if you want to leave us a message, or we'll get back to you. It's actually me, so that people know that we're taking it very seriously. So I'm just gonna call myself real quick here. Hey there, it's Argenbright, founder and CEO at HelloWoofy.com. Smart marketing for underdogs. Press 1 for support. Press 2 for signing up. So let's say someone wants to come in and I'm not available. So let's say I'm not there, right? I'm not available and I'm not able to take the call. I'll decline this for now. I'll actually then have a voicemail responding to the customer saying, "Hey, so sorry, our paws are stuck." Hey there, underdog. Thanks so much for calling in to sign up with HelloWoofy.com, your smart marketing dashboard for underdogs. Here's the deal. Our paws are a little tied up at the moment. Do us a favor, go to our website, HelloWoofy.com, and click on schedule a demo. And we're happy to jump on a Zoom call with you and show you exactly how you can automate your social media, your blog, and your smart speaker marketing efforts for the price of a cup of coffee. So do us a favor. Anyway, I won't bore you with the whole thing, but the point is every touch point matters. So when we respond in emojis on tickets. When people call in, I'll say, "Hey, Arjun from HelloWoofy calling in." So I just think people are start appreciating that. And I think they're going to be asking that from our competitors as well.
Great stuff, Arjun. Look, I've watched the journey. I've watched you, from the earliest days evolving, and it's really impressive to see. Particularly, I think you've really blossomed during the pandemic, and you've helped companies. I mean, what more can you ask for as a founder? Is to grow, make money, but also help other people. I think for me, the most rewarding thing in my exits was to see how many lives are impacted positively.
Yeah.
And I think that if you can do that with your customers too, that's a huge. I mean, that's about the best qualifier of success I think there is. So I'm honored to be part of this journey with you.
Oh, thank you. Well, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, underdogs all around the world. If you do want to invest and be a part of this rocket ship, definitely do your own due diligence before you do invest. Take a look at the investor perks. Certain perks, guess what? They include discounts on the membership. They also include membership for years, not just 1 year, but years, depending on how much you put in at the SMB level, which is a small business tier, agency plus, and enterprise as well. So definitely do your own due diligence. Consider investing as low as $100. Of course, Glenn is our lead micro lead investor here. Looks like he's going to be potentially putting in a little bit more. No guarantees, but he's already put in 25K in here. He's put in 100K, before. So he's definitely here as a champion. So Glenn, Argenbright, thank you. Virtual hugs from New York City for investing in us and being a supporter of underdogs like HelloWoofy.com.
Thanks, Arjun. It was great to be here with you.
All right.